let me go back because I put it to public right now, but that's fine. I can always change it.
Yep.
Let me go edit.
I put it to public right
Oops,
now.
hold on.
That's fine. I can always change it.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
No, like only you.
What is that?
Can hear you.
Okay, hold on. I'm changing it to unlisted. Save. Back. Okay. I'm going to okay. I just sent her the YouTube link, so I'm going to shut down the YouTube page now.
Should I go ahead and start the webinar?
It's up to you. Do you have your music ready?
Yes. I'm only concerned if the YouTube stream would change or if we'll have to like plug in again.
I guess we'll find out.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Do you want to make Isabella a host?
Just in case I have to take over sharing. That's a good idea.
Oh, make Isabella the meeting host.
I think is there an option for co-host?
No, you're now it just says make you the host. It doesn't have an option to reclaim host. Okay, I'm the host again. Let me see. I'm going to make Palak the host.
Okay, yeah.
Change host.
There can
Okay.
be only one.
Yeah, I think there can be only one host. Palak, you are the host.
Okay, and Brenda, the link you just sent me is good to go for our live session or our streaming session. Okay, great.
Well, we'll have to see though, because right now we're in. Oh, Palak, did you get us out of practice?
No, we are still in the practice session.
We're still in the practice. So we have to make sure that when we go to get out of the practice that we're still live on YouTube. But I think we'll be fine.
Go ahead and add it to my draft just in case.
Isabel, are you able to share screen? Able to record now.
Host disabled participant screen sharing.
I'm somehow unable to. Okay, I'll add you as co-host, and then I'll be.
Yeah, I can share now as co-host. Ah.
Okay. Should we go ahead?
There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was a belly of tea. The winds blew up her bow, up down below my bully boys blow. Straight up and 2 weeks from shore and down on her right whale bore. The captain called all hands and take that whale in tow. One day when the sun is done, we'll take our leave and go. I hit the water, the whales came up and caught her after the sea, harping and fought her when she died and low. She not been 2 weeks from shore and down on her right whale bore. The all hands and forty take that wheel and go. Bring us to and see them come. One day we'll take our leave and go. Leave and go. One day we'll take our leave and go.
We'll wait for another minute for others to join, and then we'll start the orientation session. Yeah. Okay, time to go. Hello, SUSE scholars, and a huge welcome to the program orientation session for phase 1 of the SUSE Cloud Native Foundations Scholarship Program. We are extremely thrilled to be with you today. I'm Palak, one of your community managers dialing from India, and we have our scholarships community team lead, Brenda, with us, and one of my amazing colleagues from the community team, Isabel, joining, both of them joining us from the sunny Bay Area of the United States. Together, me and Isabel will be beside you as your community managers for this journey. We also have so please give them all a big warm welcome, and we'll get started. So as we get going, just wanted to take a little pause for a moment and again give a huge shout out and huge congratulations to all of you. You stood out and made your way through a very competitive pool of applicants, and you should be extremely proud of yourselves for that. We are so proud of you. Before we get started, let's quickly go over some housekeeping items. First of all, this orientation session again is being recorded and it's also being live streamed. So do not worry if you miss any part of it or you want to go through it again. We've also shared the recording of the previous orientation session already in the announcements channel. It's also already up on the scholarship Google site, so you can go ahead and review it anytime. Secondly, we will be leaving 10 to 15 minutes towards the end of the session for live Q&A, and you can already you can start posting your questions for the live Q&A during the session also. Here's how you can do that. If you have a question, you can post it in the Slack channel called AMA Sessions. If you come across a question or a statement in the AMA Sessions channel that you want to ask also, or you agree with, then rather than posting it again, just leave the heavy plus emoji on it. For Q&A, we'll start taking the questions that have the highest number of heavy plus emojis, and Brenda will be sorry, they're helping us moderate the chat and also in collecting your questions from Slack. So let's glance over what will be covered today. We will begin with a quick glimpse of Udacity's history, moving on to an overview of the scholarship program. Next, we'll talk about how to access the foundation's course and how to make the best use of it. Then we'll tap into the community, talking about Slack and the community initiatives that you can participate in, and also about all the resources that you'll have at your disposal in phase 1. And finally, we'll open up the Q&A session. Okay, here's a little peek into how it all started before we really dive into the program. One day in 2011, the celebrated Stanford academician Sebastian Thrun sits down in his living room with an inexpensive digital camera and starts teaching over the internet, using a stack of napkins instead of chalkboard. Over the next 3 months, the professor offers the same lectures, assignments, and exams to the masses as he does to the Stanford students, and more than 160,000 people from across 190 countries of the world sign up. The youngest student being a 10-year-old kid and the oldest being a 70-year-old person. What shocked the professor the most was that in the final assessment, none of the top 412 scorers belonged to Stanford. Sebastian's experiment called the Massive Open Online Course was put into such wide use that NYT declared 2012 as the year of the MOOC. The rest is history. A still from back in time, when the videos used to be recorded in Sebastian's basement. The first fancy dashboard of Udacity for keeping track of student enrollments. And this is how year by year, Udacity is trying to increasingly open up new learning opportunities for scholars across the globe through the various scholarships. And now over to Isabel.
Hi, everyone. Welcome all. Just as a reminder, my name is Isabella Navarro, and I will be co-leading this space with Palak. Thank you all for the warm welcome. It's been such a joy to see you all connect and gather over Slack these past few days. So before we move forward with the orientation as planned, I would love it if we could just all take a moment to pause, briefly think about the following prompt on the screen. What brought you here today? What is keeping you motivated and inspired to succeed in this course? And lastly, what do you hope to get out of this scholarship program? Research indicates that people who very vividly describe or picture their goals are anywhere from 1.2 to 1.4 times more likely to successfully accomplish their goals than people who don't. That's a pretty big difference just by writing your goals on a piece of paper. So please take this moment to quickly jot these thoughts down, as we will return to these motivations at the end of today's orientation, where we will have the opportunity to share out with one another. We will also use these motivations as a guide throughout the program, and we'll ask you to return to your goals and our motivations at both the middle and the end of the program. Without further ado, let's get back to our regular scheduled programming, kicking things off with our program overview. At this point, you might be wondering what you can expect to gain from the program. Most importantly, you can expect to learn about and build the basic skills needed to develop and deploy cloud-native applications, which is very timely considering a recent study that was conducted by Capgemini found that enterprise cloud-native apps will more than double in the next year. And companies such as Facebook, AT&T, and Uber are hiring experienced cloud-native professionals. Secondly, scholars in this program will have the opportunity to create numerous connections with thousands of other learners that are all working towards the same goals of building their tech skills and prioritizing their growth. In fact, from a recent survey conducted in our previous scholarship community, more than 70% of students indicated that the sense of community was one of the most beneficial perks of our scholarship program. Third, we hope that this scholarship program provides many opportunities for you all to engage with your peers and have some fun. In the past, scholars have arranged social initiatives with student DJs and marathon study sessions that included a pet show and tell. And lastly, there will be plenty of opportunities to give back. Here at Udacity, we believe we are better together and that we rise when we lift others. You will have plenty of opportunities to help your peers throughout the duration of this program, and for that, we are also grateful. Let's go ahead and take a look at the structure of the program. There are 2 phases of the scholarship program. The first phase is called the challenge phase, and this is where we will reside for the next 8 weeks. During phase 1, you will work through the foundations course while staying active and engaged in the Slack community. Here you will be able to engage with and receive support from us, your community managers, and all of your classmates. If you haven't already, please go ahead and sign into our Slack workspace today. After the completion of phase 1, 300 out of the 15,000 scholars will move on to phase 2. Phase 2 is when you're actually enrolled in the nanodegree program, Cloud Native Application Architecture. In this phase, you will work on completing your technical projects using the skills that you've learned from the foundations course and the nanodegree itself. You will need to pass all your technical and career projects in phase 2 in order to graduate and receive your nanodegree certificate. Now to answer, how do I move on to phase 2? This is a question we've seen a lot throughout the Slack workspace throughout the past few days. Selections for phase 2 are based on 3 following criteria. First, students must complete 100% of the course material in the foundations course. This means that all the lessons have been viewed, all the exercises have been completed, and all the quizzes have been attempted. A quick note about quizzes. It's important to note that you will not be penalized for getting a question wrong on a quiz. You're here to learn after all. It's about attempting the quizzes and not about whether you're getting all the answers correct in one go. The second criteria is your level of participation in certain community events and initiatives organized by us, your community managers. We'll dive deeper into the community initiatives that will be taken into account towards your participation at the end of today's presentation. Additionally, scholars will have the option to run their own student initiatives to count towards participation, like creating a new program, challenge, or event. If at this point you are wondering why community participation, well, it's because time and time again, we have seen that students taking an active part in the community are twice as likely to successfully complete the foundations course. The third criteria is the criteria that was used to determine your admittance into phase 1. And lastly, just as a reminder, in this phase 1, there are no official projects that you have to submit. Your foundations course does not consist of any projects. Now for the real fun. Let's talk through how to get started with the foundations course, which, as you remember, 100% completion of the foundations course is required for selection criteria number 1. All right, so if you haven't already checked, the foundations course is live in your classroom. You can log into your Udacity account right now and see the foundations course card right there on the home page. You should have access to the Cloud Native Fundamentals Scholarship Program course card. So go ahead and log in if you haven't already and take a look around your scholarships foundations course. Great. So once inside the course, you can begin your journey with the welcome lesson. We highly recommend taking a look at all the modules in the welcome lesson, as they will help you get oriented with the Udacity classroom and all the tools you'll be working with. Once you've completed the welcome module, go ahead and get started with the technical content, which is located in the second module titled Cloud Native Fundamentals, right below the welcome under core curriculum on this page. Cool, awesome. Because 100% course completion is one of the criteria used to determine entrance into phase 2, we've developed a nifty week-by-week outline that illustrates different checkpoints or milestones that you should aim to complete in the sequence provided in order to complete the foundations course on time. Again, this is just a recommended timeline. It is by no means an exact schedule that you have to follow. Some may be faster, some may be a little bit slower. It's just a tool for you to use to gauge where you're at in terms of progress. You can view this recommended course timeline by heading over to the scholarships Google site and looking under the resources tab. There's also an opportunity to show off your hard work by hitting the suggested milestones at weeks 3, 6, and 8 by adding a special badge that are included in our emoji set to your Slack profile for each milestone you hit. More information on how to add badges to your Slack profile can be found on the Google site page. Additionally, I will be sending out another reminder via the announcements channel, so look out for that on how to add your badges to your Slack status and more about the course timelines and milestones. Awesome. For this program, there are a few recommended prerequisites, and as you can see by the list on this page, and because many of you have asked for ways to brush up on the skills listed here, we've gone ahead and linked some free courses that are available through Udacity, like Introduction to Python Programming, and you'll be able to click into these links once we've uploaded the recording and the slides to our Google site. Fun fact, we've already done this, so you should be able to view these slides and a recording on our Google homepage now. Great. So in order to get you set up for success, in addition to brushing up on the previously listed prerequisites, we have a few more recommendations that we've collected over the years from our most successful students. Most notably, please plan to spend at least 3 to 5 hours on the course each week. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be directly in the classroom for 3 to 5 hours, but at least working on studying, setting aside time to devote to the course. This could include consistent study sessions. Maybe you gather with a group of your peers, and this will just help you retain the information as you move forward throughout the program. And don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what this amazing community is all about. You can reach out to your community members via the tech help or lesson channels in our Slack workspace. I've noticed a lot of you have been helping and asking for help, and it's amazing to see. And last but not least, try to adhere to the Foundations course recommended timeline that we talked about earlier. And again, this is located on the Google site. Now, Palak will go ahead and take you through some more important things to note.
Hey, thank you, Isabel. Okay, let's talk about the Foundations course alert. So some of you might have already read about this on the Google site homepage. For others, here is what it is. So in order to make sure that the learning opportunities offered through the scholarship are utilized to the maximum, there is an active participation requirement in place. Under this, any enrolled scholars who do not make any progress in the Foundations course during the first 2 weeks of phase 1 will be unenrolled from the program, and the vacated spots will be offered to other students from the waitlist. To fulfill the active participation requirement, all of you must complete at least one lesson concept in the Foundations course before June 21st, 11:59 p.m. PT, for which you can follow these steps. Log into Udacity account and click onto your Foundations course card, just like how Isabel described it, and go inside the course. And the second step would be to make progress in the course by clicking into at least one lesson and then completing at least one concept inside that lesson. As can be seen in the image given, once you complete a concept, a green check mark will appear against it. Again, just a reminder that you need to complete at least both of these steps before June 21st, end of the day in PT time, to make sure that you are counted as an active participant and not unenrolled from the program. Okay. Summarizing some key things about the Foundations course. You have 24/7 access to the course, which means you can work upon the course based on your schedule and your availability. And though it is a self-paced course, you need to remember that you have access to it only until the end of phase 1, that is August 2nd, 2021. So you definitely should not be leaving it all for the last day. To complete 100% of the course material, which is a criteria for getting ahead to phase 2, you will have to make sure that you are going through all the video lectures, attempting each and every quiz, and completing all the exercises in the Foundations course. You might see 100% viewed remark inside the classroom. Please be aware that this remark does not necessarily indicate your course progress, and therefore we highly recommend that once you have completed the course, do a manual double check to make sure that you have gone through each and every concept of the foundations course. And lastly, you will get to know of the final results, whether you are moving ahead to phase 2 or not, on August 12th via email from Udacity. And let's dive deeper into what the Slack community entails. As some of you would already know, we've created a dedicated Slack workspace just for the scholarship program, and we are excited to tell you more about it. First of all, if you haven't joined it yet, you can find the invitation link to it in the welcome module inside the foundations course, or you would have also received a separate email about the Slack invite link from Udacity. So you can either look into your inbox or in the foundations course welcome module for the Slack invitation link. Now, once you are inside Slack, you'll find that the community serves a variety of purposes. It's where you will easily connect with your classmates. It's where you can chat with your peers about a particular lesson or about a particular topic. It's also where you can get and give technical help and also receive that support and motivation which is needed when things get tough. It is also the place where you will participate in the different community initiatives that Isabel will walk us through in a bit. And if you're new to Slack, don't worry, we have lots of resources to get you up and running quickly. One of the biggest is the Slack session that's happening at 10 a.m. PT on June 10th. That is tomorrow or tonight for some of you. Again, if you're wondering why we are placing such an emphasis on Slack, just to reiterate some parts of what Isabel said, it's because not only joining the Slack workspace and participating in the community initiatives is one of the selection criteria for phase 2, but also because we have seen that students who are active in the Slack community from our past scholarships have been twice more likely to complete the foundations course. And we do want you to finish the course and acquire those foundational skills by the end of this 8 weeks of journey. Now, once you have stepped inside Slack, here are some things we sincerely want you to consider. We will be mapping your Slack email address with your Udacity email address to take into account your community participation as well as foundations course progress. And therefore, it is very important that you are signed into Slack with the same email address that you use for Udacity. If you discover that you have signed up with a different email address, don't worry, you can utilize the Slack settings to change the email address. Also, the most important thing that you need to set up while you are filling up your Slack profile is your Slack display name. It is because your peers and your community managers too will gradually start recognizing you using your Slack display names. This is basically the name that appears to the community when you're posting something in Slack. Based on some insights from our previous scholarship experiences, we have 2 guidelines in place which you need to follow when you are setting up the Slack display name. Please make sure that your name is unique. We can guarantee that in such a large group, there'll be more than one Amanda and more than one George. So please take a few minutes to make your display name unique. And the next request is that please do not include any special characters or spaces in Slack display name. We are really sorry, but this also means that no accents or dashes. So if your name currently has one of these, we would love for you to remove those special characters for us. But you can always, like you can see on the screen here, there's a snapshot of your Slack profile while you're setting up your Slack profile. You can always include the special characters in the full name, where I have written like Palak Sadani. And then we would request that you follow the guidelines while setting up the Slack display name. And if you're confused as to how to do any of this, how to play with the Slack display name, how to set up it, or how to verify your Slack email address and change it in case the need is, you can, you need not get confused. The links to both these steps are given in the slide here, and we've already uploaded the slides on the Google site. So you can go through the slides and click on these links and see the steps. And now let's go through some guidelines that we need to follow in the community. First, and we cannot stress this enough, always and always reply in thread. Replying in thread simply means that your reply is rolled up under the initial post. Using threads in Slack really helps keep conversations organized because you can see all the replies neatly placed under the post. To reply in thread, all you need to do is just hover over the post that you want to reply to and click the reply in thread chat icon. Second, make sure that you're posting in the appropriate channel in Slack. If you're unsure of what a particular channel is for, you can have a look at the channel header, and there you will find the channel topic, which describes what that particular channel stands for. And please refrain from posting the same post in multiple channels. That's spamming. Only post a message in a channel that is relevant for that particular topic. Third, remember that we are a global community, so please be mindful and considerate that we have different. Uh, uh, hey, Isabel, am I audible?
You're good now. Yes, I can
Okay,
hear you.
okay. Was there any part that was missed, and I can go ahead and go over it again?
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
go over. Yeah, let's just go over your last point one more time.
Okay, cool. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'll start with the second one. So I'll just say that make sure that you're posting in the appropriate channel. If you're unsure of what a particular channel stands for, you can have a look at the channel header to find the channel topic, which describes what that particular channel is meant for, like what type of conversations. And please refrain from posting the same post in multiple channels. That's spamming. Only post a message in a channel that is relevant for. Third, be respectful. Remember that we are a global community, so please be mindful and considerate that we have different cultures and languages here. Whenever possible, I try to read what I've written before posting, as I don't want something to be taken in the wrong way. Fourth, remember that we are all here to learn and grow together, and we can only do that by listening and accepting constructive criticism gracefully. Likewise, if you are the one providing feedback, please keep it constructive, be kind and sensitive to how your feedback may be received. And finally, it is extremely important that we are providing a welcoming and positive learning environment in Slack, but we can only do that with your help. Please take a moment and read the community code of conduct that also lives on the Google site and is also linked here. Any violations of this code of conduct will result in an initial warning, and then if warranted, it can also result in complete removal from the scholarship program. So please give it a go and go through the code of conduct at least once. Now, we know how overwhelming the Slack workspace can seem to be, especially in these initial weeks, but we do not want you to feel that way. Slack is really at peak activity right now with everyone streaming in, but we promise to you that things will calm down. And here are 4 tips on how you can navigate the Slack workspace efficiently to not feel overwhelmed. The first step is to always pay attention to the announcements channel. Your community managers will post important information in this channel and use it to announce a new community event or a challenge that you can participate in. Next, don't be concerned about following every Slack channel. Instead, pick a couple of channels to concentrate on and add more when you're ready. Also, we are on a free Slack workspace, which means we have a limit of 10K messages before they start turning over. So you will go crazy if you try to track every single because it's not just possible. And there will be conversations that you will miss or will never see, and that's okay. Trust us when we say that the important items will be repeated and shared by your peers. They'll resurface and you'll get to see them. As mentioned before, the Slack orientation, you can attend the Slack orientation or watch the recording afterwards. We will be sharing some handy Slack tips in there. So yeah, be sure to attend. And lastly, stay active by participating in the community initiatives and consider joining a study team when they're ready. Okay, summarizing the things regarding the Slack community. Something again, which it's very important, and therefore we just want to reiterate that our Slack workspace is on a free Slack plan. This means that we have a limit of 10K messages, and once we hit the limit, messages will start turning over. So you can help keep messages from turning over too quickly by being conscious about what you post. For example, if someone is asking in Slack about what's the deadline for this program, there's no need for 10 of you to say that it's August 2nd. Likewise, take a moment before you post and think about what's the best channel to post in. Then put your messages in that one channel versus posting in every channel. Again, because that's spamming. Now, please don't get us wrong. We are not saying that we don't want you to chat or talk about fun things, because we love your conversations and we definitely encourage them. They are helping forge relationships and helping to build a really strong community, which is going to be crucial for you in phase 2. We are just asking you to be smart and considerate while posting in Slack. Isabel will now walk us through the community initiatives.
Thanks, Palak. All right, moving right along to our second criteria for phase 2, selection and participation in community initiatives and events. So here's a quick sneak peek of all the community initiatives to get involved in over the course of the next 8 weeks. This timeline is also posted to the Google site, so please note you can see this again there. Also, please note that the most important events to pay attention to are those with an asterisk, because the asterisk indicates that those events or initiatives meet the community participation criteria. So let's take the next couple of minutes to go over those with the asterisks in a little bit more detail. Awesome. First up is our student advocate program. No need to have leadership experience to volunteer for this initiative. You just need the passion, willingness, and a little bit of extra time to help out. Our student advocates will be working in teams for the scholarship program and will be responsible for managing one of our Slack channels. This can include organizing events that embody their team's channel theme. For example, if you're a part of the wellness team, you'll moderate the wellness channel and host activities around wellness. In the past, we've had advocate teams organize an online stretch class or brain breaks. This past time, I saw someone recommend some yoga classes. The beauty of it is that it's up to you and your team. The sky's the limit. Applications for student advocates will be open this coming Friday, June 11th. So look to the announcement channel that day for more details on how to apply. Next up is our drum roll. Daily Scrum Challenge, which was actually an initiative that was inspired by one of our previous scholarship students. The challenge is meant to get you all accustomed to the daily Scrum sessions that take place once you are in the technical role. Our daily Scrums are tied to experience, which means that every day for 2 solid weeks, you'll be expected to log into Slack around the same time every day and check it. Our first daily Scrum sprint will start next Monday, June 14th, so be sure to keep an eye out on our announcements channel for further instruction on how to participate. All right, moving forward to week 4, we'll ask you to participate in my personal favorite initiative, the Student Story Challenge. In this challenge, we get to learn more about you. All we ask is that you answer the prompts listed on the screen, and sometimes finalist stories will be shared with the marketing team for the opportunity to be featured on your Udacity blog. And of course, finalist stories will also be shared with the greater community so you all can get to know one another a little bit better. Great. Okay, and throughout the challenge, we also want to encourage each of you to really get involved and consider hosting a community event or initiative of your own. Just ask yourself, how will your idea benefit your classmates? And if you're unsure, you can always gauge interest by asking in the community. This is also a great way to recruit volunteers. And as always, the more the merrier. With 15,000 students in this program, you're definitely going to need some extra hands to help you pull off some great events. Once you've had a solid idea for an event, please be sure to add it to our community calendar on the Google site and share it out with your community managers so we can help you promote it amongst your peers. To the right, you can see some events that previous scholars have put on, like weekly skills quizzes and happy hours. Additionally, you can see that there's something for a podcast as well. That was really cool. Once your event has taken place, be sure to fill out the event initiative completion form, which we will float to you all via our announcements channel and Google site very soon. All right, and to help us establish a sense of routine and predictability during the next 8 weeks, we've come up with a fun weekly framework that you can easily follow along with. On Mondays, you can look for extra tips and motivational study tricks in the motivation channel. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can expect our weekly Ask Me Anything sessions, which we will start regularly next week. These sessions will take place in the AMA sessions channel on Slack. Wednesdays, we will practice Wellness Wednesdays, which will include some tips and reminders to really take care of ourselves during this time. Putting your physical, mental, and emotional well-being first and foremost is very important, so we look forward to sharing resources in the channel. Lastly, on Fridays, you can look forward to our Friday forecast, which will give you a brief look into what's happening in the coming week. And those forecasts are a great way to stay on top of the schedule and what's going on in our community, which is a great segue into our next few slides regarding the resources available to you during phase 1 of the scholarship program. The first resource has already been mentioned a few times, our program Google site. This is going to be your go-to spot for information on this scholarship program. Check back often as updates are made regularly. If you have a question, the answer is most likely on the Google site. On the site, you'll find extensive FAQs, a list of more details regarding our community initiatives, archive Slack announcements so you never miss anything important, a calendar of events that you will also be able to upload community events to, important forms and links like the event initiative form, and last but not least, general resources like Slack tips and tricks. So please take your time to go through the site and become familiar with where to go when you need information. Great. And of course, the greatest resource in this journey is the community itself. So please make use of your largest and most accessible support system, your fellow classmates. And just to reiterate, you guys are doing an amazing job of this. I love to see the support in all the lesson channels and the tech help channels. Please keep up the good work. Great. Additionally, the community team consisting of myself and Palak will also be available to all of you should you need guidance. It is worth mentioning that there are 15,000 of you and only 2 of us. So please, if you have a question regarding the community or a program related question, like how do I participate in a particular initiative? Please look for your answer using any of the resources listed in points 1 through 3 before reaching out privately to Palak or myself. Though, of course, if you have a private or sensitive issue, you are most welcome to reach out to myself and Palak privately using our Slack handles posted on this slide. Another great place to get any help with any non-technical questions regarding the program instantly is by participating in our weekly Ask Me Anything sessions, which we will from here on out refer to as our weekly AMA sessions. These sessions are 60 minutes long and will be held over the AMA sessions channel in Slack. Both Palak and I will be available during these sessions to help answer your most pressing questions. For Welcome Week, we will host 3 AMA sessions, the first one taking place tomorrow at 11 a.m. PT, just after the Slack orientation. Starting next week, we will host AMA sessions twice a week, once on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. PT and one on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. PT. Great. Next, if you have any account-related questions, please refer to our amazing support team. Our team has made it really easy should you have a question to be able to self-serve. Please take a look at the extensive FAQ page linked on this slide. Once you've made your way onto the FAQ page, click into the scholarship category and you will find the SUSE Cloud Native Foundation Scholarship Program there. This FAQ page is a great place to go should you have questions about what to do if you have a change in the registered email address associated with your account, or what to do if you don't see your Foundation's course card in your classroom. If you cannot locate your questions via the FAQ page, then you can definitely submit a request to reach our scholarship support team using the link provided on this page. If you have to fill out a request, please try to use as much detail as possible so that our team can find the right answer to your question as soon as possible. Now, Palak will go ahead and take over from here regarding wrap up.
Hey, thank you, Isabel, for walking us through the Slack community and the phase 1 resources. Okay, wrapping up with some of the most important and the highlighted questions and their responses. So when does the challenge phase end? The deadline for phase 1, as we've talked about, is August 2nd, 2021. Do you need to complete all the Foundation's coursework? Yes. As mentioned, it is also one of the selection criteria. So you definitely need to complete 100% of your Foundation's coursework by the phase 1 deadline, that is August 2nd, 2021, end of the day in PDT time. Are there any exceptions to the active participant requirement? Unfortunately, there are no exceptions. So you have to meet the active participant requirement by June 21st, 2021, in order to stay enrolled in the program, because otherwise you will be automatically unenrolled from the program. Do you have to participate in the community in phase one? As we've talked about, participation in the community events and initiatives is one of the selection criteria for phase two, and therefore we will recommend that you participate in the community in phase one. While your number one priority always should be your coursework, we stress again upon the participation in community only because we know that students who participate actively in the community are more probable to complete the foundations course. And yeah, there's more. Will you receive a certificate of completion once you complete the foundations course? There's no certificate of completion associated with the foundations course for phase one, but we will provide you some instructions on on how you can highlight your phase one experience on your professional networks like LinkedIn. You will also, all of those of you who will be moving ahead to phase two, if you graduate from the nano degree program, you will also get a graduation certificate for the phase two nano degree program. Will you be able to access the course past the August 2nd deadline? And actually, all the students in phase one will be unenrolled from the foundations course on the August 2nd deadline. But that said, the foundations course will be made available. This particular foundations course will be made available as a free course later. We do not have a confirmed date for it yet, but it will be available later, some days after phase one ends, as a free course. So in case you want to just review the content or go through some of the sections again, you can enroll in that free course and go over it again. And now it's time for the live Q&A. And we know that you've already been asking some questions, so we'll ask Brenda to share the questions.
Hello.
Hey.
Sorry about that delay there. So the first question, so for everybody, we are looking in Slack in the AMA sessions channel, and we are going by those questions that currently have the most number of plus emoji votes. So if you have a question, hop on over to the AMA session channel, see if it's already posted, add the plus emoji, and if not, go ahead and post it. So the most popular question currently is from Damien, who asks, if not selected for a full scholarship, will participants have the opportunity to receive a discount on the Cloud Native Nano degree?
Sure. Okay. Actually, we cannot be certain about whether a discount will be provided, but in case it is offered, you will receive the details in the result email that's sent out to you, the phase one result email that's sent out to you. But otherwise, you can always be on a lookout for the Udacity promotions and offers that go on the website to make sure that you can utilize them.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is from Guillermo. If I finish before the deadline, what else could I make to improve my chances to get selected to second phase?
I can go ahead and
Thank
take
you
that
for
one.
asking that question. And yeah, we are already seeing that. Sorry.
Go ahead, Palak.
So, hey, Isabel, I think I am, yeah, my network is patchy. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so Guillermo, we love to hear that you're racing to the finish. What's great about that, though, is you'll have ample amount of time, hopefully, to devote to some of our community manager-led initiatives that you can participate in. But also, we heavily encourage that you go ahead and help out your fellow classmates. After all, this will only enhance your own learning as you move forward in the program, because there actually is research around this that shows you actually learn concepts at a deeper level when you teach them to others.
Thanks, Isabella. This next question is from VJ, who asks, thousands of messages are up every time I open the Slack. So how does the active participation count?
Sure, I can go ahead. First of all, as we went through the community participation criteria, we've kind of streamlined it into two sections. One of which is participation in the community initiatives. And as Isabel walked us through some of the community initiatives, these basically your participation in these community initiatives as and when they are released is what will be first of all taken into account towards your community participation. And secondly, if you're conducting the second criteria, your evaluation metric for community participation would be if you're organizing any initiatives or challenges. And we will be sharing detailed guidelines on how you can do that and how it will be like taken into account by us in the announcements in coming days.
All right, thanks, Palak. All right, the next question that's voted up is from Abby, who asks, will this course address some of the security issues around cloud technologies and CI/CD so we can use best practices?
I would say I'm not very sure about and not very equipped to answer details about the content of the question. I know that CI/CD is being like brushed up during the foundations course and talked about and it's being covered in detail in the nano degree program. But you can go over this the detailed syllabus of the nano degree, the cloud native architecture nano degree program to see if you can find the relevant information there.
Excellent. Okay, looking for more questions. Let's see. Here's one from, I think it's Safiso. I just have one question. As we are advised to participate in Slack, do we have to participate in all these groups? Asking because there are many and I'm working.
Of course, we do understand that there are difficult schedules for us, especially for people working remotely, and then with all the conditions, added conditions that this time has added on our lives. We do not want you to track into every channel. Just as we shared some of the best tips, you can just make sure that you're following the announcements channel to keep a track of all the communications that are being sent from your community managers. So that will be one channel that you definitely need to follow. And from all the other channels, you can just pick the top one or two to start and see these could be the channels that you're most interested in following based on what are the type of conversations that go on there, and you can just keep a track of the what's going on there. And again, even in those channels, you need not follow each and every message because that's impossible, that you won't be able to do that. But as we mentioned, you won't be missing on important conversations because important things will resurface again and again. Your peers will be resharing them, your community managers will be resharing them. So don't feel overwhelmed. You need not track each and every channel. You can just pick up some of the channels that you find you feel intrigued about and you feel useful about what you want to pursue. So go ahead and use only track those channels.
All right, thanks, Palak. Just a reminder, if you have a question,
and Reda and Isabel, if you would like to add anything to it.
No, I think we're good. Just a reminder to everybody, if you do have a question, hop on over to our Slack workspace to the AMA sessions channel. That's where we're looking at questions that have a plus emoji and taking the most popular ones. Just a note too that don't be alarmed if we don't answer your questions here during the live webinar, that we are going to be going back into the Slack workspace for those questions that don't have a lot of heavy plus emojis and manually replying to you there. So all questions will be answered. Don't worry about that. Okay, this next question is for Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos asks, I'm curious about the 3 milestones. That's a new concept in Udacity scholarships.
Yes, and Isabel, would you like to go over this?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So what's really exciting is that this time around we've developed, in coordination with our program, we call them PEMs. I'm so sorry, I'm blanking on the meaning behind the program experience managers. We've worked side by side with them to help develop course timelines for you all to follow to ensure that you can complete the course 100% completion on time by the August 2nd deadline. So Posted up on our Google site now is our recommended course timeline, which I mentioned previously, you can find on our Google site under the resources tab. And this timeline gives you a week by week guide of where you should be in terms of course completion. For instance, by the end of week 1, we will hope that you have completed the welcome module and that you've familiarized yourself with the Udacity platform. By week 2, we hope that you've completed lesson 1, Introduction to Cloud Native Fundamentals. And by week 3, which happens to be also our milestone week, we hope that you have completed lesson 2, Architecture Consideration for the Cloud Native Application. And what's exciting about this is, as a fun way to kind of acknowledge your hard work in keeping up with the recommended course timelines, we've created 3 checkpoints, or what we're calling milestones, throughout the course of the program to help you recognize that you're staying on track, and for others to recognize that you've completed lessons. So maybe if they have a question about lessons 1 or 2, they can see that badge on your Slack profile and reach out to you because they know that you've completed that milestone. So once you see a week marked with either a 1, 2, or 3 badge emoji, which is again week 3, week 6, and week 8, that's a milestone week. By the end of that week, we're counting the end of the week, Saturday at 11:59 p.m. If you have completed the lessons indicated on the timeline up to and including that week, that means you've reached your milestone. And then for each of the 3 milestones you successfully reach, you can earn yourself a badge that you can add to your Slack status. And instructions on how to add those badges to your Slack status, again, are up on our Google site under the resources tab.
Okay, great. Thank you, Isabella. All right, moving on. We have a question from both Aditya and also Rome on student advocates. Is there any criteria for applying to student advocates? And what will they need for the application?
Oh, okay. So there's no certain criteria as such. All of the scholars in the Slack workspace can apply. The only thing is we would need someone who would really like to step up and help the community, help us build the community, drive initiatives, and then also help your peers as they are starting their journey with the Slack community. Regarding the how the applications will be reviewed, there'll be some questions in the application form, and the selections will be completely based upon your responses for those questions that are covered in the application form. Unfortunately, you will get to see the application form only once we release it on Friday.
Thank you, Palak. I hope everybody applies, everybody who's interested. It's a great role. From Database Guy, do we need to participate in all community organized events? Can we just participate in just a few?
Yes. So with the kind of structure that we try to give to the community initiatives is such that it caters to different kinds of schedules and different kind of requirements. So all we'll say is, based on your interest and based on your availability schedules, try to participate in as many community initiatives as possible for you, and as many as you find interested in. For each of the community initiatives, we've tried to tie it such that it helps you in progressing through the course and helps you grow. So yeah, it's not necessary to participate in all of them, but as many as you can.
Okay, thanks, Palak. Okay, this is from, and please pardon me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Nyanex. Wouldn't the 60 days of Udacity be better than the daily Scrum? It's more difficult for people who have a full-time job or other commitments to attend in a specific time, and also we have different time zones.
Yeah, that's a very valid question, we would say. And to first of all, I'm using some. I'll use terminology that I think Isabel had used earlier in the Slack workspace, that it's not synchronous, it's asynchronous, so it's not time zone dependent. So basically, it's a little different version of daily Scrum that suits our global community. So there won't be a time zone dependency there. You can post the daily Scrum, you will be able to do your check-ins based on your time zone, so that won't be an issue. And you'll get to know more about it as we release the details on Monday.
All right, thanks, Palak. Okay, we have a bunch of questions around study teams. What are they? How do I join one? How do I start one? I know that details are coming tomorrow, but perhaps you can give a little top level overview again.
I'll rather ask Isabel to walk us through study.
Yes, so I'd be happy to. Just very high level overview. Study teams is something that we're putting together because we've heard you all call for more smaller or more intimate group settings where you can meet with others in a smaller shared space over a shared goal, interest, location, love of food, etc. It's up to you. Whatever your heart desires, you can submit a request to create a smaller group out of this cohort of 15,000, where we will ask you to assign at least one leader for the group, depending on how big it is. And you all it'll be up to your leader and your group to decide if you want to have regular meetings, if you want to come together and work on a shared project. Really, the sky's the limit here. And I don't want to give too much away because we are going to post an announcement about this on Thursday, but there will be an extra little twist to study groups where you will be able to get involved in an optional competition against other study teams. So more to come on that this Thursday.
Yes, and as with every initiative, just want to add that there will be a whole page on the Google site that you can reference and read and take the time to really understand all about the initiative as well. Okay, the next question is from Hu Yifeng. Hi, panelists. The student initiative events sound interesting, like the podcast. Can we understand more on the process to create a new and meaningful initiative?
First of all, we would say that if you have an idea for a potential initiative or a challenge, we'll first of all we'll say that if you can evaluate yourselves on whether it will be useful for the community, or how it will be how it will cater to some requirements or needs, or how it can help your peers in progressing through the course. So that's one part of self-evaluation that you can do on your idea, and then you can go ahead and maybe share it in the general discussion channel, or maybe some other channel where which it might be tied to, and gauge interest around it and see if people are really interested in it, if you would like to gather any volunteers for it, and afterwards you can go and execute it. Once you've decided on the whole thing, the timeline and the plan, you can execute it. You can before executing it, or you have to make sure that you've included the timeline in the calendar, the scholarships Google Calendar, so that everyone is aware about it. You can also send a word to me and Isabel so that we might also include it in the announcements. And then eventually, after you've completed the activity or the challenge, you will have to fill up events and activities completion form, which we will be sharing with you by the end of this week. And we'll also share more guidelines on how you can think about an initiative, or what are the things that you should consider while thinking about an initiative as we share the form.
All right, thanks, Palak. I just wanted to say, as I'm scrolling through Slack, that everybody is doing so good at adhering to our Slack display name guidelines. So round of applause to all of you. All right, this next question is from Cho Ackham, who would like to know, I would like to know whether one must post a text message for it to be counted as participation, or do upvotes count? And I think that what they mean is they mean a Slack message. Okay.
Just to be very clear here, the community participation does not include posting in Slack. It's basically just participation in the community initiatives, as we talked about, like the community sponsored initiatives, and creating student initiatives and running challenges in the workspace. So we would definitely want you to think of the Slack community as a resource. So do not engage in you should not be putting up a post just for the sake of it, but in case it's required, in case you have a question, in case you have something to add to our discussion, go ahead and add it on the Slack channel where it is placed. But the upvotes and the post will not be taken into account for community participation. And Brenda, Isabel, if you would like to add anything there.
I think you summarized it pretty well. Thank you, Palak. Okay, just more questions around the Daily Scrum Initiative. How long is duration? Can I choose to do it at night? Just wanted to reiterate to Palak that it is based on your time zone. Okay, and all the details will be posted on when the Scrum starts on
Monday.
Yes,
Coming
thank you. All right, there's a question around channels that I had my eye on. I'm going to have to paraphrase because as I scroll through here, I can't find it at the moment, but it was like, can we create, oh, here we are. It's from Amaddeep. Can we create channels on our own in case we think it will add value to the community?
Okay, so because of the large like team that we have here, we've not added the you do not have the permission to create a channel. That said, you have 2 avenues to create to request for a channel. First of all, if you think that a channel is more required in the Slack workspace in a general which will be utilized by the whole community, say larger community, you can place a request for it using the Slack channel request form. It is again under the resources tab and in the forms and links section on the Google site. You can find the request form there, and based on the most frequented requests from what are filled in using that form, every Friday me and Isabel will be adding more channels to the Slack workspace. And the other avenue, as Isabel mentioned, was study teams. So for study teams, also for the requested study teams, we'll be creating smaller Slack channels. But these will be basically for smaller and more focused groups that you want to create. So if your idea of the Slack channel is to have a more geo-specific or more academic specific academic interest or a project-based group, wait for us to release the study teams, and you can request the Slack channel for the study teams to the study teams form.
Okay, I'm gonna try to fit in a couple more. Okay, we're gonna run through these. From Arpit, I have a question that some students who already have gotten scholarships earlier, will they be preferred over the newbies for the second phase of the course?
No, we know that. So basically, in the larger cohort that we have people from all the different backgrounds. There are people with different expertise level in the especially in the cloud native field. People from across the world, and also there are some of our alumni from previous scholarships or just phase 1 participants from previous scholarships. Please be aware that these are none of these factors are considered for phase 2 selections. The criteria that we've mentioned and highlighted for phase 2 selections are basically course completions, and then the community participation, and then the selections criteria that was used for your phase 1 selection. So these are the only 3 things that will be considered, and none of the other factors will be taken into account.
All right. Let's see. I think we're at time. Do you have any last words?
Okay, I would say, Isabel, would you want to continue?
Yes, really quickly, just as promised, let's go ahead and return to our intentions that we set at the beginning of this orientation. If you feel comfortable, I welcome you to share out in the Motivation Slack channel your answers to the 3 questions, leading with #reflect. Please be sure to follow the outline included in a post that will be posted in the channel so we can clearly see everyone's motivations. And also, please don't forget to include #reflect. Additionally, you can use Slackbot to record your thoughts. You can return to this direct message at any time to remind yourself of the intentions that you set at the start of this program. Again, please use hashtag reflect in your post and follow the outline that will be posted in the motivation channel shortly.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us today. We are very grateful that we have all of you with us together in this journey. So we are sure and very confident that it will be like an amazing journey with you all. So let's get started. And in case you could not find the answer to any of your questions during the orientation session, you can refer to the FAQ section on the on the scholarship Google site, or you can also attend any of the community manager AMA sessions. We are hosting 3 AMA sessions in this first week, so you can attend any of those and place your question in the AMA sessions, and we'll be responding to it live during the AMA sessions. During the 1 hour of the AMA sessions, it will be hosted on the Slack channel called AMA sessions. And yeah, that's it. I hope we were able to walk you through the details of the program efficiently. Again, in case you have any questions, you can go to the Google site and also take help from your community members. And yeah, we are excited to get this journey started.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining.
Have a great evening. Have a great day. We'll see you in Slack.
Buddy, you're a young man, shouting in the street, gonna take all the world someday. You got blood on your face, a big disgrace, waving your banner all over. We